we go. Let me know if you can hear that now. But anyway, go ahead and chime in. Let me know if you guys can hear me on the other end. My sound's been going out, in and out. But anyway, if you can hear me, go ahead and comment. And those who are on my Facebook stream, again, let me know if you can hear me or not. But I'm going on to this topic today because I came across an article a few days ago that was very disturbing. And it bothered me to the pit of my soul. And sometimes we don't think about the families who are going and experiencing things. So when you look in a toxic system, it comes in many ways. You can name a list of things that will let you know what a toxic system is. It can be our government federal, it can be our government state, it could be our government international, it can be our government in any part of the country. Even your household can still encourage that because it carries the same dynamics as a government would, if that's the case. But a lot of times we don't take the time to really sit back and wonder why we continue to go through these toxic systems. Yes. And I'm going to tell you and give you a few little aspects. The toxic system even can be in your schools. So this, again, may not be for everyone. And welcome again for those who are on TikTok. Go ahead and hit that like button and share. Yet again, this can be just in a certain state, a certain country, another certain continent. So it doesn't matter where you at. But even if you move from another part of the country and come over here in the United States, again, all of the governments, no matter where they are at, it still collides as a one body, even as United Nations. So I go to say we live in a toxic, corrupt system. It's because we are. Look at what's been going on around the world. Look at what's going on with our children. Look what's been going on in your society. Look what's been accepted. Because when you look at that, laws play an effect with that. So when it comes to the laws in the system, they tend to take that law and push it into your household. So it ended up becoming very toxic because now look at what it's doing. It's being embedded into your children. It's being embedded in family members. It's being embedded in so many other ways. And sometimes we don't think about that. Sometimes we don't think about that, how it's being embedded. It is being embedded very deeply. Bear with me for those who are on the other end. But with that being said, think about that. What can we do about that? What can we take out and put in where we won't have to continue to allow ourselves and our family and our household be in a toxic system? Because the system is just not your environment alone. The system could be the food industry. The system can be the music industry. The system can be our government. The system can be, what everybody else believes in, and nobody is on the same accord. So then guess what? You have so many different agendas that it becomes a system. So with that being said, sometimes we don't think about that, but it does cause a problem. And give me a moment for those who are on TikTok, but I'll get to that in a few. Just let me get this in for a second. And so that system disturbs your grounds. That system disturbs your ground. I know over here in America, it disturbs our ground with our children. I've had personal experience being in a public school, and I see how the public school system is. I saw how the children were reacting and how the teachers were reacting. And it was very disturbing because I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, look what's going on. The children cannot even be handled. The children can't be handled one bit. But then I see where the children get it from. The children were getting it from the teachers. Like seriously, the children was getting it from the teachers. And I was like, oh my God, how are the teachers and them even, even being able to control their classrooms? And this is very sad. It's very sad to see this. It's very, very sad to see, the things that go on, even with bullying. If we look back, that's a part of a toxic system. When we look back the times we were bullied, how did we handle it? Think about that. How did we handle bullying when we were growing up? But now the way how bullying is being, done, it's not being done in a manner that it should be handled. So I say this because I'm going to read this article with you guys real quick, and bear with me. This is an article coming from CNN. And I normally don't be on CNN like that, but it broke through breaking news, and it disturbed my spirit because it lets you know that our families are being corrupted by just not the things on the outside, but the outside is coming in and it's being shown on TV, through social media like YouTube and so forth, or again, whatever it could be. So I'm gonna read this article real quick, and some of y'all might have came across of it. This article is titled on a 12-year-old is facing assault charges for allegedly throwing acid on an 11-year-old girl at a Detroit playground, officials say. This is in Detroit. Now, for those who, know Detroit in Michigan, we know how those grounds are in some places. So if y'all are from Detroit, Michigan in the U.S., you know how some of them grounds are. So I'm going to go ahead and finish reading this here. It says that a 12-year-old girl facing assault charges after allegedly throwing acid on an 11-year-old girl at a Detroit playground, a parent in a court Tuesday, officials say. I'm not going to say the young lady's name, but if you guys want to go, y'all can look it up. The 11-year-old suffered second-degree burns on her back, on her legs, on her arms. This happened on July 9th with the attack, her mother stated. This is what her mother is stating. Now, this young lady was playing with her siblings, her cousins at a playground when she was caught in the middle of an altercation between a 12-year-old and one of her family members. This is what the family says. The 12-year-old appeared in court Tuesday for a pretrial hearing, and news release from Wayne County prosecutor states she has been charged with assault, intent to do great bodily harm, and is felonious assault, according to the release. This is deep. This is real deep. Think about this, guys. This is real deep. I feel like it was the most evil, and this is coming from a family member. I feel like it was the most evil thing you could do to a kid, especially, you guys bear with me on TikTok, especially the fact that she was an innocent bystander. So, this is very sad to hear. Bear with me, those who are on TikTok. I'm going to get with y'all. Just let me finish reading this, and then we'll chime in. I hope that she gets, this is what the person says, I hope she gets what she deserves, and they all get what they deserve, told the station, saying she wants everyone involved to be held accountable. The family says life for her and this person has changed since the attack. It takes, and maybe 2 hours, what used to be 20 minutes, getting dressed, she told WXYZ. This is one of the stations. Then it is said it takes about 2 hours to give this young lady medication. She has to give her medication 30 minutes before she takes a bath now. And during this time, this young lady now who is 12 years old, is set at a $10,000 bond, guys. $10,000 bond, according to prosecutors. It's troubling, they say, and that's it. This is what, CNN had posted, and it's been up for a couple days. So with that being said, it's like, wow. I mean, think about that. It's like, wow, what can we do with this situation here? It's sad, like seriously, to see a young lady who was an innocent bystander to another young lady. And what makes a person think at that age to throw acid on another individual? And then you hear one of the family members say, well, this 12-year-old is going to get what she deserves. I'm not taking sides. Yet again, think about this. This is the children. Thank you all who still tuning in on TikTok. If you don't know, this topic is on a topic of corrupt system. And I just finished reading an article on a 12-year-old young lady who threw acid that ended up hitting another young lady who was an innocent bystander. Sometimes the topics can be a little off a little bit, because when you read an article like that, it's going to show and tell you that, hey, this they're making it seem like that the person that they threw the acid on was supposed to be the person that they were getting in a fight with. But technically, it was another young lady who was involved, who was stuck, caught in the midst of it, and now she's been damaged. And so with that being said, you know, you're right. They can't, as a sister says here on Stream Live Facebook, they can't control them because the kids are not controlled at home, because we have soft kids and parents. That's pretty deep. There are some parents who are very soft. There are. And with that being said, a lot of parents feel like that because of the way that their upbringing was, that they can turn around and say, okay, well, I don't want to raise my children up the way that I was brought up. And you look at those times when the parents were, you know, brought up or whatever. It's a little different when the way the parents was brought up. Times were different. Certain laws were different. The environments was a little different. And some of those parents would sit here and say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and not raise my child to be the way that I was. So then I'm going to be a little bit more lenient. Then that child turns around and goes to show that, hey, my parents giving me freedom. I can do whatever I want to do. There's no boundaries. So that is one of the reasons why you have children out of control, because they're not setting boundaries at home. Yet again, the parents have to come in a manner where they're not moved by what the system is saying. And that's not saying that you still shouldn't follow the natural law order. I'm not saying to get all caught up in the government order, because we already know how that goes. For those who know, we already know how that goes when it comes to the government and all the other things with that. Because with that being said, we already know how the government do. But when you're in a toxic, corrupt system, then guess what? People become toxic. It's almost like hearing people say you are what you eat. You are where you live in. And some people, I applaud those who can actually get themselves from out of those environments. I applaud you. Like, seriously, I applaud those who can actually get out of those environments. And it's sad. Like, seriously. I also applaud those who couldn't get out. And I say couldn't get out when I say applaud, meaning that they found a way to maneuver around it. They found a way to, you know, make their environment a little bit better. For some reason, my thing is not working on TikTok. So for those on TikTok, if you notice that I was unable to really see your comments, forgive me. It's not intentionally. It's, I don't know, something going on with TikTok here. But anyway, make a long story short, being in a toxic environment, a toxic, corrupt system where everything is accepted is a big downfall. Is a big downfall. I'm going to go ahead and read another comment. The comment is, yes, because we may think that it is outrageous for kids that go at the throw acid on one another or accidentally put it in their environment may be the norm. But we have to understand everybody normal is not our normal. But what is normal? That's the thing. What is normal? That word is so thrown around so much that we can sit here all day and dissect that word in so many dynamics that it don't even matter. But you're right. Everybody's normal is not our normal. That word, it has been taken in a manner where, again, it goes with accepting. It goes with accepting things. So what is normal? Think about it. When we growing up, used to hear some people say, normal is, oh, why can't you be normal like this person over here? Why can't you dress normal over here? You know, again, what is normal? Because if you go somewhere else overseas and you look into their dictionary, normal means something different than what it means over here. Yeah, here we go. This is a good comment here, guys. It says, wow, Google, Mr. Google says that normal is conforming to a standard. So yes, your environment becomes your normal. Conforming to your standard. It's funny how Mr. Google say, because Mr. Google has a different definition than what I remember normal when I used to read it out of Webster book. Yet again, that is a deep, deep, deep definition, because 2 words it says conforming and standard. Conforming and standard. Conforming and standard. So this, if we put biblical in it, and I'm not trying to make this where some people be like, oh, here we go in a religious thing, but it's more than religious, it's spiritual. It's the natural order. That's why you hear me say natural, not of our understanding, the universe natural. When you hear the word conforming, the first thing that came to me was transforming. As scripture said, transforming by the renewing of your mind. But yet again, certain words was taken and revamped, recycled into a way where now people think that that's okay. All right, we got another comment here. I'm loving this. Keep it coming, sisters. Normal, is my opinion, is how parents raise their child. Because to the parent, that is normal behavior. Y'all are hitting on some nubs here. Y'all are hitting on some nubs. And I like how that still merges in with the other one before. I love how you said normal behavior. Because to the parent, that's a normal behavior. That is going to go back to where I will be having another topic on trauma. Because every cycle, every generation, it's different. So if you are coming from one generation and you pull that into your own family as you become, in of age. I try not to use the word adult, but we live in a society now. People like to say an adult or child, teenager, whatever. That is the new behavior, because that behavior is part of what they could have had in their lifetime before, which makes it another behavior that can cause trauma. But we don't know that's trauma if it's the normal. So then guess what? Now that normal's been manifest there. Then that same normal could be manifest somewhere else the same way. Then that normal can be manifest somewhere else again, but in a little different way, but they're still merging that on. And now everything seems to become normal. Everything that seems to become normal, everything has seemed to become accepted. And that's the issue right there. Normal is accepting now. So now I hear normal, it means accepting. It doesn't even mean what it used to mean. So that is something that we really have to, in our households, hold ourselves accountable and do a recheck. So if you see certain habits that is causing your household, your families to be toxic now than what it used to be. Oh, somebody got to pick up the baton and say, okay, we can't allow this no more. We won't allow this no more. This can't happen. Because if not, the next generation going to do it. And then that generation going to take that and add on to it. And the next generation going to do it. And like you said, it becomes a normal behavior. Because now it's known as, it was said, Mr. Google say, conforming to a standard. Conforming to a standard. Now, my question would be, should we conform to a standard that we actually notice that is affecting us? Should we conform to a standard and stay conforming to that standard, knowing that it's not causing us to have any good outcome from that? That is something that each and every one of us should really look into. That goes for me too. When I use the word each and every one of us, because I'm not perfect. It could be just like this. Let's say you are a person who grew up in a household where, hey, you received spankings. Well, spankings was the normal when somebody was doing things that they were already warned several times not to do. So now you have to discipline. But then you have those who take spanking now beaten to a whole new level. It went from being one thing to now something totally different. Totally different. So, we really have to look at this. We really have to dissect this and take the time to really realize that if we don't do something about it, it's going to continue to be an issue. But it takes a community. It takes more than one individual. It takes all of us to be on one accord and to really sit back and really look at the fact of what we should do about it. Because the system now is so mixed up and so toxic. And I mean toxic. It's not what it used to be. It's not in, as some people used to say, when I remember growing up over here in the U.S., everywhere I went, it was, "In God we trust, in God we trust, in God we trust." You don't even hear that no more. You may hear it a little bit here, a little bit there, but it really ain't there. So it fades out. You really don't hear it. I see you, hon, on TikTok. For those who see that young man up in here, say hello, baby. But yeah, think about that, because I know for me, I had to really look back on a lot of things that I don't see no more. The system is so still toxic that it doesn't even teach kids, say no to drugs, say no to crime, say no to violence. You don't hear that no more. You don't. You don't hear that no more. And I remember talking about this earlier this weekend when I was with my daughter, with my husband. And what I was saying to her was that, when we were growing up over here, we had McGruff, the crime dog. You used to see him be advertised on TV all the time. All the time. All the time. Now, do you see McGruff? Don't see him no more. Don't see McGruff. What's the other one named? The bear. Lord, it's at the tip of my tongue. I can't believe I forgot the name of him. Taught you how to force fires. All these kind of things. You don't see it no more. You had commercials, videos at home, in the schools, in the community, where you had those in the community who brought the children together to play sports like American football or international football, which we know as soccer over here in America, things like that. Now you don't see it. You do not see it. And they would teach you and go over what it meant. Why? Look what happened now. You don't see it nowhere. You don't see it nowhere. Nowhere. None. Nada. Nowhere. Turn on the TV. You don't even see a commercial telling you not to use drugs. Turn on the TV. You don't barely see a commercial say, don't, no drinking, no driving anymore. That's starting to fade out too, if you guys notice. It went from no drinking and driving to years later, no texting while driving. Now you don't even see that anymore. All people do now is just make a law and move on. Make a law and move on. Accept a law that shouldn't be accepted, that is actually causing more issues than it's helping. And then after that, You don't hear nothing else. You don't see no more. What happened to commercials where I used to be able to tell young teenagers, protect yourself. I don't condone having sex before marriage, but that's just me, because it causes you to go in some more trauma, because this is stuff that's not taught at home, in homes. It's a toxic thing that is not taught about. It's not, held accountable with parents to go over with their children. It's so many other things. And I really see that we are dealing with a lot more than what we know. Like, honestly, guys, we are dealing with a lot more than what we know. And this goes to show why it's so important that as families, we work on our homes. We work on our homes. The system is so toxic that it shows favoritism. So then that favoritism that's out there is being accepted in your home, and you don't even realize you're accepting it. And now it's a repeat to the next generation, and a repeat to the next generation, and a repeat to the next generation. Like, seriously. I thank you guys for joining in on TikTok and Instagram, and we're streaming Facebook Live, because anybody can get up here and talk about anything, but anything is not always necessary. We have to talk about things that will make us to become better, make our children to become greatness, inspire, encourage, to uplift our community, uplift our family. Because I am seeing now that families are just accepting whatever, and they're falling apart. They're falling apart. You thought the pandemic, you thought the COVID-19 / coronavirus did it alone? That was just the icing on the cake. That was just the icing on the cake. And when that icing got on the cake, it took something to a whole nother level. A whole nother level. And now that I see this, I'm like, hey guys, what are we going to do about this? Like, for real. How are we going to handle this? Because one person can't do it alone. It's going to take more than us. It's going to take that old school saying. It takes a village to raise a human life. It takes a household to build a nation. But we can't do that if violence is in the home, because we learned the violence in the system. Abuse of the violence, because we learned it out there, outside with the system. And other cultures who come from other places, they merge and they come in, and everything is war, 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 fight, fight, fight. Look at the system, so toxic that sex trafficking is on a rise. The system is so toxic that kidnapping kids is on a rise. The system's so toxic that everywhere you going, people are missing. I know you saw about the young lady. For those who may not know, again, over here in the U.S., this young lady who went missing because she saw a toddler walking on the side of the highway. This happened in the border near Alabama. And then all of a sudden, she's missing within the 24 to 48 hours. And then she randomly shows back up at the doorstep of her parents' home. And you didn't hear no more about it because they couldn't talk about the case. But we know we heard updates on that. Everybody having their opinion about it instead of what's the truth that possibly could have happened. I've heard and seen other podcasts and other videos here on live on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever it's at. And some people was like, oh, this lady is faking herself being missed on a busy highway. Now, if that's the case, if she really is doing that, that's on her. But that's not going to stop. And that shouldn't stop us because somebody, if that's the truth, somebody decided to go and decided to fake themselves missing just to gain publicity. But these are the things that actually happen. So that's something toxic. To go missing, fake it, and come back like you fought your way through it for attention. But I'm not beating on this young lady. That's not my thing. I'm not beating up on her. But what I do know is that this has taught and it's teaching for those who are on social media. You know, our children are on YouTube. And if they don't have YouTube access in your household, they're going to find it somewhere else. They're going to go do something else. Some kids are stuck and got phones, whatever, because they feel like they're missing out on what their friends are telling them. So then they learning these things. And this is something I talk about with a lot of my spiritual nieces and nephews and spiritual children, spiritual, natural human beings that I love so dearly. And I listen and I talk with them and I just hear their heart. And then as I'm hearing their heart, I notice of what they're saying. And it was like, when I notice what they're saying, I actually can sense and feel what they actually are thinking. I can't say that for everyone else. Yet, when I hear them say what they say and they finish it, then I turn back around and then I ask a question. Their mouths drop because then they're like, whoa, how did she figure that out? Just by listening to you, by taking the time to be an open vessel to hear your thoughts. It's not to sit here and to criticize you, but if you are having any of these impulse in you to feel like, okay, I'm not getting the attention that I need, nobody loves me, and then you go out and pull some mess like that to stir that kind of trouble up, then wow. That's some hard stuff to be doing. Who want to do that? Who wants to stand there and sit there crying and weeping over you because they know that you're missing? They see that you're missing and nobody else cares. And that's not even half of it, guys. Then to the next thing, another toxic thing that's in the corrupt system is drug trafficking and how the drugs is being brought into our neighborhoods, into our village, our community, our household. And then they say it's a war on drugs. Yeah, it's a war on drugs because we live in a toxic system that's turning around, bringing it into our environment. Undercover. And then you look, it's inside your household with your family. Then you wonder why everybody having mental disturbances, physical disturbances, which leads to the next thing, spiritual disturbances. But again, who am I to say? Who am I to say and sit up here and say that, okay, I know it all? But what I do know is that we got to fix it. We got to fix it. We got to fix it by changing it. We got to fix our household by changing the dynamics of what we know. And it doesn't have to be done all at one time. It can be done gradually, step by step. Try different avenues to see what's going to work better. Because I'm still learning on some things myself. I'm still learning how I need to maneuver certain things. Like, seriously. And so with that being said, again, what are we to do? How are we going to do this thing? Are we going to be willing to work together? Are we going to walk together on this? Because again, one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people can't do it alone. But there are only a few that actually take the time to make a change. So again, to the families out there, if there's not a mother in the household and a father in the household that works together, then we really don't know what is necessary to make a great change. Because our household should not have a toxic system in it. Our household, our lifestyle should be a system that is uplifting, that has boundaries to inspire, to encourage, to elevate, to push, to draw. To draw. Do y'all hear that? To draw. Welcome again, Jacksmo. I see y'all phase. I see you guys. To draw. Not to go out here and corrupt, but to draw. But reading this article about a 12-year-old girl throwing acid on an 11-year-old girl, it is beyond the word disturbing. It is beyond the word disturbing. I got to say it again. It's beyond the word disturbing. Because where did this girl learn to get acid and decide to want to fight somebody and throw it on? Is she carrying it around in a bottle with her? And plastic is not going to be the best thing, because we already know what acid does for those who took up science. But to have acid with you and to throw it on somebody that you're having an altercation with, that's some serious stuff, guys. That is serious. So that makes you wonder, is this parent a science major? A chemist? I hope so. Or maybe they was using the acid for when they're trying to dilute other things, incinerate it for some good purposes, and they have it somewhere. And sometimes parents can have this stuff locked up, and kids are very, 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 very smart. Kids have become more smarter than we ever could imagine. Much, much, much smarter. They take the time to want to learn the things that seem to be wrong instead of the things that seem to be right. Now, if you are a parent and you are a chemist, or a chemist could be anybody. A chemist could be someone who works on houses. A chemist could be someone who works in a laboratory. People don't think about that because you're still doing things that you're mixing, for those who are unaware. But to sit back, and if your child, you tell your child, your young human, hey, this is off limits, this is locked up, you are not allowed to touch this. And especially if you taught your child, you taught your seed, hey, this was used for this, but not for that. Because let's say they might have never had an environment to teach them to do bad with that. Because some parents actually teach their children to the best of their abilities and actually are raising them in a good place. But sometimes that child can just be one of them type of children that just you can't control. And probably had a moment where they say, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of them doing this to me. But to throw acid on and meant for somebody else, and then it ends up injuring somebody else who's a bystander. That's severe. And then to read the article, and says that the other person of the family said, I hope they get what they deserve. It's gotten to the point now that when it comes to our seeds, anyone hopes that anything they do wrong get what they deserve. But we also got to look besides just at home, because the home takes in the outside environment and allows it to be accepted in the home. If you don't sit down with your children, who are supposed to be star seeds, who's supposed to be your legacy, supposed to be your nation, supposed to be your dynasty, all in all, then guess what? Somebody else is sitting down with them on YouTube. Somebody else is sitting down with them at school, next to them in a classroom, whispering something in their ear. Someone else is doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And that is very, very scary. Like, I don't know what else to say with that, guys. Like, seriously. To throw it at 12, I'm still fabricated. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still on this. I'm still in my mind. Like, I know of those who were victims of being in a place where acid was thrown on them by somebody older. Someone who really wanted them to be dead, wanted them to suffer, wanted to kill them, wanted to get the pleasure of doing something like that. And I've seen this happen from ages 17 and up. And have heard 17 and up. But to be where it's a 12-year-old kid just turning 12 on an 11-year-old, that's a serious matter, guys. That's a serious matter. We really got to get out here and save our families. We really got to save our families. We have to. We have no choice. Because if not, our family will die. And I'm not talking about like a physical death. I'm talking a spiritual, which will manifest in the physical and hit you mental. Spiritual death. Spiritual death. There will not be no joy in your household. All it will be is just anger. All it will be is hurt. All it will be is, I got to get them first before they get me. That is crazy. But I had to talk about this. I had to bring this up. Because all I know is they babies. They still got a lot of growing up to do. But they traumatized. They are traumatized. They are traumatized in their spirit. They are traumatized from their spirit to their mind. And now they are acting it out on other people. Instead of being taught, just because someone did something wrong to you doesn't mean you got to do it back to them. And it doesn't. So I leave you guys with this. And my prayer is that you guys would take the time to talk to your star seeds. See what's going on with them. If they don't desire to talk with you, it doesn't even have to be our babies. It can be a family member who's going through something that we're unaware of. For those who are going through something out there, don't hesitate to talk to someone you are close to that you know is there for you. Don't be scared to talk with someone you know has your heart. Even if it's someone you just met and you just feel comfortable with them out of the blue. Out of the blue. Blessing. Thank you for the hearts and the love. Out of the blue, like seriously, because to hear about a 12-year-old young girl who's supposed to be a flower, a young lady, the lily, throwing acid on someone else tells me that something in her heart, all throughout her body, that she was and still is hurting. And if she took that hurt, meant for someone else, now has hurt someone else. A young girl now being burnt by acid has to take medicine 30 minutes before a bath. 30 minutes after. Because the pain is unbearable. The pain is unbearable. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting emotional with this. And I normally don't get emotional, but it hurts me to see in my heart and my spirit that our children are hurting. And then they grow up still hurting, becoming adults. And then they still hurt. Every person that I meet who are adults now, when I step my foot outside the door, they're angry when they're driving. They're angry when they're in a grocery store. Nobody shows love anymore. Nobody shows respect. Nobody shows any gratitude. And to read and to see and experience that a young lady, beautiful young girl. She's beautiful, guys. They have her picture. For those who haven't got a chance, you can go on CNN News online, Google it. You could type in young lady, 12 years old, throwing acid on an 11-year-old. It will pop up. For those who are on our stream, I definitely will share it. Let me go ahead and share that now while it's up here. But it's so disturbing and hurtful. It's very disturbing and hurtful. Like, seriously, because this young lady, and I mean this young lady, only 12. You see her? 12. For those who are on Restream Live and Facebook, this young lady, beautiful. Beautiful. This is the 11-year-old girl right here. This girl here. 11, guys. For those who are on Restream Live. 11. Who was burnt by acid. Who was burned by acid. Guys, these article things keep popping up on here. I'm gonna go ahead and knock now. I say to you guys, talk to your children, talk to your family members, talk to whoever, what they're going through, because we don't desire, nor do I desire, to see another life injured because of another life. We are injuring each other for what? Pleasure. Because there are some people that injure each other for pleasure. There are some people out here who injure each other because it feels good to their nature, because they already had pain inflicted on them. You know how it's just like a person who feels better, feels good, and it's suicidal, so they slash their wrists. The pain just feels so good to them. But what kind of pain is this? Why? 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 As we end and close out with this, do not leave your house without telling your family member that you love them. Do not leave your house without making sure that you manifest love on you and around you. Now, I'm not saying that people out here are not going to be walking around and trying to tempt you. Welcome back. I see you. And Ninja, I see you up here on TikTok. But don't leave without holding your love to some other people, because this is bigger than we could imagine. I see some people trying to come in. Let me see what I can do here. You guys hit that button again if you can. I'm new to the TikTok thing. But yet again, it's very heartbreaking. It's very sad. It really is. And as I'm up here messaging to thank you guys, it still hits me in my shanana, like, for real. Like, this right here, it is, whew, my mind can't even fabricate it right now. For real, for real. Because she's a young lady hurt by another young lady. My heart goes out to both sides of the family, because blessings, Jim, for joining in. Blessings, Zach, for joining in. My heart goes out for the families, like both of them, because no one ever would couldn't even fabricate that something like this would happen in your own backyard, they would say, in your own backyard. Like, seriously. And so with that being said, guys, go out here, do something for where the family can know that, hey, I love you. You don't need to go out here doing no harm to anyone, because the love we have out here, guys, should be greater. The love out here should be to the part where we don't need to go out here to hurt each other. Welcome, Miss Dasha. It is, yeah, you guys just don't know how much this disturbed my spirit. It really disturbed my spirit, because they still babies. Babies. 12 and 11. Babies. Again, for those who haven't got up there, again, today's topic was on families living in a toxic, corrupt system. If you overseas, I thank you for chiming in. I send out my love to those who are over there. If you're over here in the U.S., I thank you for chiming in again, because this is a serious thing. This article was right here based out in the U.S. So if you guys will go on CNN, on Google, you could type in 12-year-old girl who threw acid on the 11-year-old girl right in Detroit. This happened in Detroit, Michigan, guys. And so with that being said, go ahead, share this to some family and friends. I'm your sister, your host, your birthing doula, your inspirational healer, spiritual healer, herbalist, and psalmist, Cynthia J. Thank you for joining in at the Cynthia J Show on this grand day. Keep rising to the limits. If you ever have a topic to share, go ahead, DM me on TikTok, Instagram. You can DM me also on Restream, Facebook. If you like to follow me, I am on Twitter at the letter A _ anointed. I am on Instagram, cynthiajgospel. I'm also on Facebook at cynthiaj. You can follow me on there. Find me on here as well. Go ahead and share this with someone that will be encouraging, inspiring. I'm not up here to argue with anybody. Hey, you can share your thoughts if you like, but I only come with the truth only, and nothing but the truth and the facts. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to embrace you, to show you some brother and sisterly love and all other things. Go out here, guys. Save our children, save our family, save ourselves. Peace and love. I thank y'all again. For those who are on TikTok, thank you for joining in. Love you guys. Much love. And thank you guys. If you're on here on Instagram, thank you again. Much love. Peace and love to those who are on stream. I thank y'all for chiming in today. Go ahead, hit that button. Share this video if you haven't got a chance. Share it with someone that I want to encourage. I thank y'all again and have a blessed day. Y'all check out some of our new things that's coming up this week. Next weekend, your sister will be on the Self-Love Show. I'm excited about that. So go ahead, chime in, show some love. Peace and blessings.